I thought it's going to be like a really serious salsa. What? And then like, okay, look at your form. Form. I said form. And maybe they will throw chanclas at you while you're like dancing. I don't know. I'm not a dancer, but I've seen Black Swan. I know what happened when you dance. Okay? Hi, welcome back to Be Extra Knitting. This is a knitting podcast by me, Stephanos Laxnanda. And if you're new here, Be Extra means to be brave, to celebrate your creativity, to upskill, like don't worry about or don't be afraid in doing that project that you think you don't have the skill, because you can always learn the skill by doing the project. Okay, so if you're what do you call it? If you were a returning viewer, welcome back. All right, so today is Saturday, November 22nd. So this is the weekend before the Thanksgiving, if you live in the United States, or borrowing the words from Keisha from Pie and Barren Knits, the weekend before the Food Eating Thursday. If you know, you know. So, meaning my last episode that I recorded and published was exactly 4 weeks ago. And 4 weeks ago. So, I think from now on, every 4 weeks, is a good frequency for me to publish the podcast, because things are just getting crazy busy outside of the knitting world, so at work, and also the burr months starting September, things just picking up in terms of social events. Also at work, still things are crazy busy, and then also a lot of celebrations, as we all know. So definitely, I think 4 weeks is a good frequency. Anyway, with that, I have no finished objects. I have no finished objects. So I think I'm the only knitting podcast who, the host is a monogamous knitter who podcasts every 4 weeks without a finished objects. So that made me think, okay, why don't I just focus on explaining myself why I don't have a finished object throughout the episode? Because things do need to be explained. A lot of time, things that happened this 4 weeks, you would think, okay, is this a made up story? Or so anyway, let's just get into that. So no finished objects. I have, but in the knitting department, as you see here, there are 3 things. One is a half finished object. One is what am I wearing, and one is whip. That's all I'm going to talk about. So stay tuned if you really want to know what they are. And the rest of the episode, I will be explaining why I don't have a finished object. All right. So before we go into it, let me just tell you, there will be 3 things that I will discuss to explain why I don't have a finished object. All of them includes men. Men are distractions. So ladies, be careful with men. If you have something to knit to finish, men are distractions. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, but they all involve men. Okay. The first one, I will title it the Bachata. Okay. The second one, I will call it could have been murder story. And the third one is Dia de los Muertos. Okay, so I will go through this, but to start with, what am I wearing? I think that's the easiest one. I am wearing the wave sweater by Spektaklestrik. So this is a paid for pattern, and I covered this in previous episodes about a year ago because my friend Chester wore the same sweater. So he knit the sweater and he wore it for the Rhinebeck last year. And that inspired me to make one. So right after, well, actually during the Rhinebeck, I picked up some yarn to make this. So the yarn that I use for this is Noro. So the emerald. So by the way, this is November 22nd. There's something that just came out of in the movie that has something to do with Emerald City. If you know, you know. Anyway, the emerald color is from Noro, and then the chartreuse or whatever the contrast color you would say this is from La Benami, and it is a mix of La Benami boucle and mohair. So I hold boucle mohair. Is that it? Boucle, yes, boucle mohair. So if you have made this sweater, I think it asks for either worsted or chunky, and then whatever, you just follow that pattern. But oh no, I think I hold two mohairs, one boucle, two strands of mohair, one strand of boucle from La Benami. I don't know, I forgot, and I don't always make project page on my Ravelry. So, but if you go back to my previous episodes or go back to the last year, right after Rhinebeck, maybe December, November, or maybe even January this year, there should be a documentation. There's another thing, having a YouTube channel, it's a good way of remembering or documenting, your knit. I don't have to go back to my Ravelry. I just go back to my YouTube videos. Anyway, so that's what I'm wearing. And yes, I will be watching the movie tomorrow in this. And I have a leftover La Benami boucle or fingering. I forgot. Fingering. That is also the color of this for the hat. So it's going to be a cute one. So if you go to my Instagram, which is Be Extra Knitting, on Instagram, you will see some documentation of this sweater with that hat. Okay, so that's what I'm wearing. Now, what am I working on? Well, I'm still working on this blanket that I will be gifting to my little sister for her housewarming party in Dubai for Christmas. So we will be, as a family, having a reunion in Dubai, and I covered this in the previous episode. So if you want to know more about this, go ahead and go back to that episode. Now, let's get into the half-finished objects and the rest of the episode, which is explaining why I haven't finished that object. Why is it just a half-finished? Okay, so to begin with, this is the half-finished objects. I call it half because this is going to be a vest. The pattern, so this is not a paid for pattern. It's a pattern that my friend Keenan Goldsmith, which is Knitting Bartender on Instagram and Facebook, he wrote this as a draft of a pattern, but he has not really published it. But he mentioned it to, our knitting circle that he has this, and he has made a couple of them. You can see, go to his Instagram, which is the Knitting Bartender, and then you will see the one that he made and he wore. And I told him, hey, I know you haven't published that, but is it okay if I get a draft of it and, I make, a sweater out of it. So during the Rhineback of this year, I picked up a yarn. This is the only yarn that I got from Rhineback, and I know exactly that I want to make this sweater, but with one condition or update. I mean, it's not going to be me if I'm just going to be following pattern line per line. That's not me. The pattern is for a sweater, with sleeves and body, but I'm going to make it a vest. Why do I want to make it a vest? I really think, and I really want a vest, a nice fitted vest that is cable, of a cable sweater style. Um, so I plan to just make the back and the front, and then update a little bit on the decrease of the sleeve area, because I want it to get inside a little bit more, so that when I add what do you call this, ribbing at the end for the the what do you call it? The armhole area, the ribbing will end at where the suggested decrease for this armhole is in that pattern. I don't know if that makes sense. So, but I will just mention it to Keenan when I finish it, and hey, I follow most of the pattern that you wrote, but I just finish it as a vest. So yeah, so this one, the yarn is I also talk about it. It is from the Good Shepherd yarn. It's a Vermont farm that I found when I was at the proper Rhineback. So it was a Saturday of the Rhineback weekend. It was the Saturday of the Rhineback weekend, and then I think it is near the animal barn area. So it's really farmy yarn. And that's my thing about Rhineback. I don't want to get like what do you call it? I want to get farmy yarn. That's my goal every time I go to Rhineback. So finding this is it's a perfect situation. And the color, I've been wanting like kind of moody burnt orange color, and it's just all over this unique color. So it's not gonna be loud, but the color itself is already wow. So okay, so last episode that I recorded, I was already starting this. Was I? Uh, by the way, I try not to edit this a lot. I think I will just record, update. So sorry if there will be a lot of pauses here and there. I mean, I try to prepare before I record, but there are things that, oh shoot, I haven't figured, or I haven't prepared this information. But anyway, I think no, last episode, yeah, I remember. Last episode, I was working on this as my whip, but I had a finished object, which is my, yes, which is my El Descanso sweater. So go back to the previous episode, which is the cover, what do you call it? My summary of my Rhineback 2025 trip. And then in there's a finished object that I call the El Descanso sweater. So yes, after that, I had a trip to Mexico City for Dia de los Muertos, which I will explain at the end. But during that trip, I cast on this at the airport. And then this is a bottom up. Yeah, the way you started, it's worked in pieces. So you start. So Keenan suggests to start with the sleeves because he likes to get the sleeves away, finish first, and then go into the body. So you never have that. If you have that problem with sleeve islanditis, or sleeve island, what do you call, knitter block, where you just cannot finish your sleeves at the end. So if you work on your sleeves in the beginning, then it will motivate you to just finish the body. But since I'm not gonna make the sleeves, I skip the sleeve part and just start with the back part. So in the airport, I started with what do you call, like this, and then the cast on is a tubular bind, a tubular cast on, or Italian tubular cast on. Anyway, there is 8 rows of setup for the initial part, and then you do a 2x2 rib. But before you do the 2x2, there's 8 rows of setting up. So, and then I started it during our really early what do you call, like a flight. So you know how early flight, I think it was at 6 o'clock in the morning, but we got there pretty early too. But you know, they turn off the lights as we start to take off. But you know, if some people are opening their windows, so only this small opening of window that I get a light from the outside that that really helped me to cast on. But anyway, I remember I was casting on, figuring out the Italian cast on, whatever, tubular cast on. And then the 2x2, and the 2x2 is about 3 inches. And then after that, it's really easy to memorize what do you call a cable pattern. And this is mostly 2x2 cables. And then there's a 2x1 cable, but that's it. There's nothing bigger than a 2x2 cable. So meaning I don't have to bring a cable needle. I can just use the regular knitting needles and then just reorganize it when I have to do the cable using the active needles. I don't need to get an extra one. And I explain about how I do it because I'm a left-handed knitter, meaning my progressing hand, I call it a progressing hand, the hand that is making new stitch is my left hand. So I'm going from, so this is left, I'm going from left to right. Meanwhile, if like the regular way of knitting, I don't want to call it the normal way, but the accepted way of knitting is you're going from right to left. Sorry, from right to left. So if you look at your knitting right now, if your regular way of, or you call it right-handed knitter, you're going from right to left, meaning your right hand is the one hand that is making the new stitches, but I'm going from left to right. So in my Instagram, I explain how to knit cables without without cable needles when you are a left-handed knitter that knits from left to right. So go back there. I don't think I'm gonna put that video here because it's not the whole idea of the episode. The whole idea of the episode is to explain why this is not a finished object yet. Okay, all right. So that's the pattern. The name of the pattern. Sorry if I'm just jumping around before I explain the reason. The name of the pattern is Eglise. Eglise. It's a French word for church. So, you know, for Spanish, it's iglesia. So it's similar, but I mean, it's Eglise. Maybe I say it wrong. I'm really sorry. I don't speak French. But it's really beautiful. It's really simple. Maybe you can see it better here. Yeah, there we go. Let me just bring it out. Oh, sorry. There we go. It is just a beautiful, simple cable. Again, this is a 2x2, the main one, and then the traveling one is 2x1, and then 2x2 travel 2x1, 2x2, and then there's this cluster every end and beginning of the 2x2. I don't know if you can see. I like the clusters. This is my first time doing cluster, and it's a three wraps. Uh, before you continue, I thought it's going to be like those bubbles, whatever, that I don't really like, but it turns out it's really nice. It's actually giving a really nice accent, but not too prominent. Okay. Yeah, I'm so excited to finish this. I think the second half will go much faster because, well, who knows, right? By the way, I only have less than a month to finish this blanket. So who knows? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, I may be in trouble, but it's trouble that I put into myself. Speaking of trouble, let's get into the explanation why I haven't finished this. I've been saying this for 20 minutes, so I might as well do it now. Okay, here we go. Why haven't I finished that? Reason number one, chronologically from the most recent to the oldest, event. The most recent one, I call it the Bachata. Okay, so what had happened was one day I was, actually, I can give dates. 2 Sundays ago. You see, this is why in 4 weeks I haven't finished it, because the most recent one started 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Sunday, it's a little bit too close. I was knitting by myself. Now, I say by myself because the second reason has something to do with knitting with another person in the same cafe. Let's go back to the first reason. Bachata. I was knitting by myself at a cafe, and there is this two man that I keep seeing in the gym that I go to. So I go to the gym. Okay, she's a gym goer now. Early in the morning or after work. So a lot of time I will see them. So when I saw them, I did not really want to say hi because who knows what they're it's their own time. Like, I don't know them, whatever. That was Sunday. The next day, Monday, I went to the gym. Of course, well, one of them was there. So I did not. I mean, I noticed him. He was there, but again, I did not say anything because I don't know him. I did not know him. But as I was going to, I forgot what I was doing in the locker room. I think I was about to get ready or finishing up, whatever. He looked at me and I was like looking at him, okay, fine. Yeah, I saw you yesterday kind of thing. But he finally said, hey. I said, hey. He asked, did you knit yesterday at the cafe? I said, oh, yes. I was surprised because a lot of time people will say, hey, are you crocheting something while, watching me knitting? So I said, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I see you around. I have seen you around. And then I was like, you go here a lot. Do you work here or you just, exercise? Because I was saying, yeah, no, I'm just exercising. So he said, no, I actually teach a class. I said, oh, nice, cool. What class? And then he said, dance class. I said, oh, okay. He said, yeah, it's every Tuesdays and Fridays. So there's the time, whatever. I said, cool. Uh, I did not make anything about it. So then I said, okay, bye. I'll see you around. Because, I mean, I like dance classes. I took Argentine tango when I was um, what do you call when I was in Berkeley, but that was an actual dance class. It's Argentine tango, and then there's the milonga part. Like it's a social. There's a social part. There's a technical part. There's a social part. But then I don't really dance after that. And when he said he teaches dance, I asked what kind of dance, and he said it's a ballroom dance. And I said, in my mind, oh, it's a serious dance. So I'm like, I mean, cool, whatever. But I was just surprised that because he's a really tall. The next day I came to the gym, did not plan to go because the next day was Tuesday. I did not plan to take his class, but I kind of just want to see how it is. So I went past by the classroom after I finished because it was pretty late for Tuesday. It was 8 o'clock. And I usually finish up at 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock, but by 8 o'clock I really want to go home because I want to knit and make something, like eat a little bit at night, watch something before I go to sleep. I try to go to sleep latest at 10. So I passed by and I think I was so hungry. I have a banana and I was just eating a banana at 8 o'clock, ate something. And then I saw him teaching, and he has really amazing form, amazing ballroom dance form. I don't know uh, what dance they were, learning or going over, but it looks like on the slow side, meaning that you really need to know your forms, kind of thing. And this is why I said he has really nice forms. Just by looking at it, okay, he really is a serious professional dancer. And again, that was Tuesday, and I know, okay, if I want to go, I can try the Friday one. But then something came. Yes, I cannot make it. I cannot go to the class on Friday because last Saturday I hosted a queer soiree in my house. Again, men related. I don't know. If this story is too long, you can skip to you can skip to the next episode or wait until the next episode. But it gets more interesting. Just give me time. Just fast forward if you don't. Anyway, so yes, I cannot make it. Let's knit. Sit and knit while I continue my story. It really requires a whole episode. Anyway, let me continue. So the Friday of last week, I could not make it because, I had to go home and actually continue preparing my cooking because I started preparing the food since Thursday last week for a Saturday soiree because I was making, I'm extra. So when I cook, I'm extra also. Again, if you go to my Instagram, you will see what I made and how extra it is. I'm just kidding. I just love what do you call, like, feeding people with good food, I guess, and I don't have a restaurant, so a dinner is a party is a good idea. Anyway, so I don't know what happened on a Friday, like what type of dance that happened on a Friday. It makes me more, how do I say it, curious to go into the class. So I was like, all right, last weekend, so exactly 7 days ago on a Sunday, okay, next week, let me check, his class. Again, every Sunday I will go to the cafe there he was again, sitting in the cafe when I walked in, that Sunday. So and then I have regular friends or local friends that were also in the cafe. So I was talking to them, but then I saw him sitting. So I think he's working on something on a laptop. So I stopped by and just say hi. We introduce our names. Um, and then he explains to me, yeah, this week I'm focusing on tropical. So I was like, oh yeah, I mentioned, I started with it's not tropical, but I started with Argentine tango. Went up back, a couple of years ago. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe one day I can introduce soft dance. I was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by soft dance? So apparently, there's the soft and I don't know, a hard. I don't know what the other type is, but soft is kind of like Argentine tango, waltz, but the other one is, the salsa, the bachata, I don't think bachata is that fast, to be honest. But anyway, so I said, oh, cool. Did not think about it. Did not think anything about it. So he said, yeah. So he just mentioned again, Tuesdays at 8, Fridays at 6. Doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, got it. Got the schedule. Came this week. Tuesday, I saw him again. And then, again, 8 o'clock is too late. I saw him as I was about to take a shower. He was just getting ready. He mentioned to me, you're coming, right? I said, by that time, I just was being honest to him. Look, I might one day, but not tonight. And also, I'm just fighting my shyness because in my mind, in my mind, it's a ballroom dance. You need to bring a partner, and then if you don't bring a partner, then you have to figure out everyone there, blah, blah, blah. I thought it's just going to be, okay, so many things for an introvert to go over. Okay. So he said, and then I just, maybe one day. So I was just like, okay, it was just jokingly said, maybe one day. And then he said, being shy is just the first few minutes of the class. After that, it's really nothing. Like he really just saying, look, it's kind of nothing. So I said, okay, maybe if I want to go, it has to be Friday, this coming Friday. So that's what happened. Okay. So yesterday, I finally went, and in my it was at 6. 6 is a perfect time. So I went to the gym first in the morning. So I like to go early morning now. So I wake up at 5. I get to the gym by 6 or like 5 something. The gym opens at 5 in the weekdays and 7 in the weekends. So I got to the gym at 6. I finished at 7, and then got my coffee and head to work, and then get to work maybe by 8:30 or something. And then so I for yesterday I came back to the gym after work at 5:30 or something. So I finished work at 5, got to the gym at 5:30. And then I had like an hour to kill, so I just changed to my gym cloth, and then I just stay on the gym floor. So I think I was just doing cardio for like 30 minutes, and then I saw him, what do you call, warming up or doing whatever on the other side of the room, and I didn't want to say anything because I'm going to take his class anyway. So I was like, all right, let me just go. But I don't know if you've ever taken, a dance class, being an introvert. And I know I did not bring any, dance partner. And even though he said it's okay, a lot of people just came by themselves. In my mind, I have to go over this barrier, like activity energy. Let me just paint what I really think in my mind so you understand. To me, I thought it's going to be like a really serious salsa. Maybe they will go like, what? And then like, okay, look at your form. Form. I said form. And maybe they will throw chanclas at you while you're like dancing. I don't know. I'm not, I'm not a dancer. But I've seen Black Swan. I know what happened when you dance. Okay? But turn out it starts, he says, all right, class, it's gonna be tropical. We're gonna focus on bachata tonight. I'm like, okay, bachata, love the bachata. One of those 70 byte per minute rhythm. So he shows some moves, and then he started the music. He started with this music. What is it? Uh, Stand by Me by Prince Royce. The Stand by Me, the bachata, the one that's when the night, has come, and then it's just a simple and and then you do all the term, y la luna es la luz que brillante mi, something like that. So that I can do, and it's nice. It was fun, and there is this. So turn out the way we do it is, initially in the class he says, okay, in ballroom dance, traditionally the man figure or the male representing person will be the leader and the female representing person will be the follower. But I'll let you choose which side you wanna stand. So even though I would like to pick up how to follow, I just stood in the leading side because, as you can imagine, the ratio of woman to man in this dancing class is just greater than unity, meaning we don't have a lot of male. So I stand in the leading one, but then I ask him, because apparently even as a student, I'm being extra. I said, is it okay if at some point the leader, learn how to be a follower, or the follower learn how to be a leader? He said, yeah, no, don't worry, we can do that, and I will show you how to lead and follow at the same time. Anyway, before the class, so I stand in the leader one, but before the class, I don't know, when you go to, like a new semester, let's say you have a group, project, and you need to choose, like your group partner. I'm sure you're trying to see, all right, which one of these people knows how to find books in the library, or which of them has, anyway, you want to get a good partner. So when I just step into the class, I look around, and there is this person. Let me just call her Schmoleen, to protect their identity. Her name rhymes with Schmoleen. So Schmoleen was here was Schmoleen standing with her crocodile leather dance shoes in the middle of the class. I had to come to her. I'm like, okay, so you're a serious dancer. And then Schmoleen and I, we were just kicking the whole. I thought that we have to identify a partner like right away in the beginning of the class, but I did not know it's going to be like leader will move to the left after each session, so it doesn't matter anyway. But every time I dance with Schmoleen, we just Schmoleen knows her dance, okay? So, and I said, Schmoleen, you dance really well. And then Schmoleen said, yeah, I started with Argentine tango. I said, oh my God, I love Argentine tango. Do you go to a milonga? She said, this is what Schmoleen said. Schmoleen said, yeah, the last milonga that I went to, they told me to take a class on how to follow. So Malonga people told Schmoleen to learn how to follow. So I told Moline, tonight, if you want to lead, you lead me, okay? I can be a follower. I'm pretty sure the teacher, every time the teacher looking at me and Schmoleen whenever we dance, I'm sure the teacher identifies, problematic students in the class. Let me just say that. But Schmoleen and I, we danced, okay? And every time Schmoleen, wants to turn, I said, Schmoleen, you turn, okay? You turn, you turn. I don't need to tell you when to turn. But it was fun. So that's the first reason why this has not been done. Meaning, a lot of nights I will have like some social event. If it's not the gym, like the soiree, the dinner, the cooking. So I rarely find like a good hour at night to just sit and knit. So a lot of time I just bring this to, for example, I was having like a car service, and then I just knit while I'm waiting for the car. But at night it's really difficult. Okay, done with the bachata. Now the second one, the could have been a murder story. I realize this is getting too long. I thought it will be fast, and now it's almost 40 something minutes. Let me just focus on this, because if not, we're not finishing it. So, 1 week before I met the teacher, the dance teacher, I also knit in the cafe, in the same cafe. Think about it. I think the reason why it's not finished is that cafe. Yeah. Anyway, I was knitting by myself again. In walked this person knitting while talking to his husband, and we made eye contact while knitting. So we just made it fast. Went directly to him, said hi. That is whatever pattern? He said yes, confirm, petite knit. I said, this is whatever pattern. What's your phone number? Okay, it was fast. Okay, but what's the problem? Why is it not finished? Heaven knows if that's fast. So we texted. He said, one of the tags, hey, I live only a block away from the cafe. Do you want yarn? Now, if you have seen murder stories, this might, raise a red flag, right? Like, if I continue the story. So I said, do you want yarn? I said, yes. I was just answering the question, do I want yarn? So I was, do I want yarn? The answer is yes. No other thoughts. He said, do you want to come to my house to pick up yarn? So in my mind, I heard, do I want to move my body to his place and then pick up yarn, and then return to my house, not get killed, but alive, and return to my house? I said yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. So the next day, uh, Sunday, because I met him on Saturday, Sunday morning, he said, come to my house a block away, 10 o'clock. I got to his house exactly at 10 o'clock, texted him, hey, I'm here. Okay, come to my basement. In my mind, I walked to a basement, pick up yarn, walk out alive, and go back to my house. Okay. Now, for some people, they might have said, oh, yeah, no, bro. I'm good. I have lots of yarn at home. Thank you. No, 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 not me. When he said, do you come walk to the basement to pick up the yarn? I said, yes. I walked to the basement and that's exactly what happened. Anyway, he turned out to be a really nice guy, and he happened to know somebody who worked in the knitting industry, no, fashion industry in New York City in the knitting department. But then he has a friend who is not, who either has passed away or do not know what to do with all their yarn anymore. So this is lace weight cone. I don't know what's the weight of one cone. For this color, I have 7 cones. Okay? 7 cones. And this is merino wool, really nice. Think of Brooklyn tweed. What is the lace weight Brooklyn tweed? Peries or something? Exactly, because when I started the natural fiber knitting during the pandemic, I still remember the very first yarn that I used, a Brooklyn tweed lace that feels exactly like this. So this reminds me a lot of Brooklyn tweed lace. I mean, there is what do you call, like, information inside the cone, but whatever. And this one, I think he said something about alpaca or something. It is so soft. And this one is not a lot of material, but if I want to make, like, slipper, it's very nice. And this one, this color, look at this color. I know it is from 1989. It's almost as old as I am. Okay, now you know how old I am. And this one is, I don't know, it's 365. It's a little bit rough on this, for this one, but again, I want to accessories, to make accessories is amazing. But this one, I have a lot of sweaters in mind, and maybe I get into machine knitting. Who knows? And also he has machine. The reason why he has a lot of wool, he took a lot of wool from his friends that is not using that anymore, is because he's a machine knitter. So he has a lot of machines, and he told me that he can show me, or he can sell me one of his machines. And I said, yeah, why not? But we'll meet again. But since then we have been, communicating, meeting, and it's just, one thing is, I follow my instinct, but honestly, I was just lured by the free yarn, free natural fiber, and not get killed and not get murdered. So I know it's a joke, but just be careful if you ever are offered free natural fiber in a basement. Maybe in the future I will have to think a little bit. So that's the second one. The third one is, let me just make it quick. It's Dia de los Muertos. We meaning a couple of friends they don't knit. So when we went to Mexico City for Dia de los Muertos, and it went very well. The Airbnb is so beautiful. It is in the it's not in Zona Rosa. It's Roma Norte area, close to Zona Rosa, and we yeah we enjoy Mexico City. Um, I put a lot of pictures in Instagram. If you want to see what some pictures from the trip, it's there. But I only knit a little bit. So as I mentioned, I started this ribbing in the airplane, but maybe I only knit up to here. While I was in Mexico City, it was 4 nights in Mexico City during the Halloween, and then the day of the soul, and the day of the anyway, November 1st, November 2nd, and then we stayed the Monday, and then we come back the Tuesday. That's one day before the chaos in the airports happened. So we were pretty lucky that we were able to go, because I have a friend in the gym who planned to go the day after we come back, which is November 5th, but that's the day a lot of plane got canceled, and his plane got canceled, so him and his husband had to reschedule their Mexico City vacation to the next year. So we were lucky. But yeah, I on the way back here. So I said up to here when I was in Mexico, but maybe up to here when I was in the plane. So this one is after it took me 3 weeks just to go from here to here. And I'm a fast knitter, but again, right after I got back, yeah, right after I got back, I have that soiree that I have to prepare. And then I met these two guys that led me into more social events, and then I've been ramping up my gym going. Oh yeah, there's another thing. I don't talk about it a lot, but the last checkup I did for my what do you call the annual checkup, it's official that I have been reducing my weight by 70 pounds from my heaviest point. So it just make me more motivated to continue my journey, my health journey, I guess. So I've been going to the gym religiously, but not putting myself in danger, meaning like I don't do crazy stuff. Maybe I go and then put in about 45 minutes of work, either cardio or weightlifting, and then come back another time, like the next day or at night for like the dance, or something light, but basically just trying to be active. Yeah, so yeah, that's the Dia de los Muertos. Honestly, it is not. It is knitting is not a competition. When I said, I'm just joking in terms of telling you why I haven't finished this, why I don't have a finished object. I don't really mind not having a finished object, but I think it's just a funny thing to cover during for this episode. But I think that's all. Oh, one thing I also want to cover before I go, I'm going to give a shout out to Geoff with a G from Losing My Knit. He has a YouTube, and I met Geoff online from an online knitting knit and sit and knit. Every Tuesdays, this knitting store from North Carolina, which is Sundragon Art and Fiber. They have also YouTube channel. So Tuesdays they have sit and knit, a Zoom virtual sit and knit. And then I met Geoff there, and then Geoff started his own YouTube channel last year, exactly about this time. So he just published an episode where he talked about the 1 year journey for his YouTube, and he mentioned about me, about like what I cover every time I have an episode, just basically being myself. As now you, if you're still here, so I just want to shout out to Geoff. If you haven't followed Geoff, I'm sure you, if you run into my YouTube, I'm sure you have run into his YouTube, because he has more followers, even though he just started last year. So I'm pretty sure your YouTube algorithm will suggest his video before it suggests my video. But if you haven't, please give a follow or give a watch or give a listen to Geoff. And yeah, it's just another queer voice, male voice in the knitting community. So it's nice to have a community in this knitting world. And yeah, and it's good that you have a supportive people also. So yeah, I think that's it. Until then, be brave, be extra, be brave, knit what you love and love what you knit. Bye.